Why? So that your mind is not preoccupied with food while you're praying. Why? So that you can actually be in salah, khushu'. You can be concentrating in your salah. You can be concentrating in the salah. And the Sahaba used to practice this practically in the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar. When he was eating, and one of the tabi'een, if I'm not wrong, he said, the salah, he said, no, sit and eat first. When you're really hungry and your mind is on food, you understand? And number 6, lastly, this is specifically for the men. You pray in jama'ah. I think all of us will agree through experience. Praying in jama'ah, especially the obligatory prayers, you are more in the salah than praying by yourself. And I'll share something lastly, which I have seen myself. If you're someone who prays a lot of nawafil, you pray a lot of voluntary prayers, Allah makes the obligatory prayer easy for you. Allah makes the obligatory prayer easy for you. Wallahu a'lam. Wallahu a'lam. You'll answer the first part.
Umar. My question is about the Mawlid. I come from West Africa. It is not fard to celebrate, but it is said to be a tradition. There will be a gathering of scholars who read Quran to speak about the life of the Prophet ﷺ. But now I'm told that this is not permissible. Please give some explanation. If we can talk about our Prophet ﷺ every day, and we choose also one day to have da'wah and to give food to people, how could this be bad? Sister Maryam, we say, why do you celebrate the Prophet ﷺ's birthday? What's the reason behind celebrating his birthday? It's not just to celebrate anyone else's birthday, laughing and joking. Yani ala ahsan al-ahwal. In the best scenario, people are celebrating the Prophet's birthday for a reason, a very important reason, a lot of significance, and that is celebrating the Prophet's birthday. To some Muslims, not all, but to many Muslims, it's no other reason except for a display of their love of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a display and a manifestation of how much they love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and how much they respect him and venerate him, and the list goes on. Is this not the case? There's some Muslims, unfortunately, they may celebrate the Prophet's birthday and they may do munkarat, all kinds of haram things they do, just like a normal birthday party. But let's say in the best scenario, a Muslim is going to celebrate the Prophet's birthday because of spirituality. Is this not the case? Because of spirituality. Whether it's right or wrong, but they're doing it what? For that reason. We agree on this or not? Fine. So let's ask the question. When you love the Prophet ﷺ and you display it in your actions, what is that called now? It's called devotion. Ibadah. And ibadah and devotion is a beautiful thing that everyone should do. We're only created for devotion and for ibadah. But how? Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create you, make you, tell you about a place called paradise, tell you about a place called hellfire, and explain to you that if you worship Him and if you show devotion, you go to paradise, and if not, you go to the hellfire, and not explain it to you? Not teach you the practical way of devotion? Not teach you the practical instructions of going to paradise and avoiding hellfire? Anybody with any sense, let alone a Muslim, is going to say no, that's impossible. It just doesn't make any sense. So therefore, if celebrating the Prophet's birthday is a means of love, it means it's a means of what? Devotion, ibadah. And if Allah created you for ibadah, and Allah is merciful, Allah is kind and courteous, then it's a must that He explain to you how to perform and how to fulfill the wisdom of your creation. And the answer to that only lies in what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. So Muhammad alayhi wasallam, when he became a prophet and a messenger, we know he lived for over 20 years after that. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Do we have an authentic hadith or a weak hadith that states that the Prophet sallallahu celebrated his birthday? Or Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, the one no Muslim, no two Muslims are going to differ, he loved him like no other person. Or Umar radiallahu anhu. And the rest of the Sahaba al-Kiram, Did they celebrate the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam's birthday? The Prophet says, "Khairun nasi qarni." He says, the best of people, my generation, and we know the generations that will come afterwards. Did they celebrate the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's birthday? In other words, we have a mathematical equation here, or a logical debate here. Do you love Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than the Sahaba? One question. Do you have more knowledge than the Sahaba? Everybody understand this? The third and final question I would pose: is it possible and feasible for something so virtuous to be hidden to the Sahaba and made clear to you 1,000 years later? I don't think no Muslim in his right mind is going to answer any of those three questions in the positive. I don't think so. I just don't think it's impossible to answer those questions. So therefore, it's not an issue of reasoning. How can this be bad? It's an issue of ibadah. Man amina amina laysa alayhi amruna fahuwa radd. Aisha radhiyallahu anha narrated, the Prophet said, he who performs an act of worship that isn't proven by what we have laid down and established, it will be rejected. It will be rejected. And there's no other reason behind you celebrating the Prophet's birthday. And as you mentioned, da'wah, reading the seerah, giving food. The Prophet says, Khairul Islami. He says, the best Islam, as Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As narrated, Sahihain, he says, تطعم الطعام وتقرأ السلام على من عرفت ومن لم تعرف. He said, the best Islam is to give food and to send salutations to those who you know and those who you don't know. So you giving food, hosting people, reading the seerah is all ibadah. And if that ibadah was not done by Muhammad, nor acknowledged by Muhammad, then it is impossible for it to be guidance. Impossible. And if you do say it's guidance, then you have an even more difficult situation now, because the Prophet ﷺ forgot to tell you about that ibadah. He forgot to explain it to you. Maybe he forgot. Maybe he didn't have the fluent, eloquent words, and the list goes on of problematic questions that you can't answer and say that you're a Muslim. So therefore there lies no doubt celebrating the Prophet ﷺ's birthday is something that should not be done. If some scholars allow it, if some scholars derive and deduce from some general proofs and evidences, that's fine and that's peachy. But Muhammad ﷺ never did it for 23 years. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, he never did it. Umar radiallahu anhu, he asked him, how can you fight the people when they say La ilaha illallah? In other words, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, he took a harsh position against those who did things that did not exist in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Why didn't he celebrate his birthday? And everything Abu Bakr had, he gave it to Muhammad. And he risked his life for Muhammad. And he married off his daughter, and the list goes on. It's just impossible. So therefore, the Mawlid, the Nabawi, and I say this, no matter who says it's permissible, this sheikh and this scholar and this imam, because there are some scholars who say it's permissible, we say it is baseless in the life of Muhammad, the life of his companions, and the life of the best of the Muslims. Therefore, Allah says, what is after the truth except for dalal? What could possibly after truth except for dalal? Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair. We will pray Salatul Isha and come back right away so we can save time, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan for your nice listening. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka